Okay, 9.2 volume of cylinders. Alright, so cylinders are going to be similar to prisms. Their characteristics, both prisms and cylinders have two identical bases. Both bases are in parallel planes. Okay, the difference is that the bases are always circles. Okay, in some ways that makes the formula easier. So it is area of the base times the height, but because they're always circles, we just plug in the area of a circle there. So pi times radius squared times height will be the formula for all of these cylinders. All right. Okay, Cavalier's principle allows us to figure out the volume of a cylinder no matter if it's a right cylinder, so that's the typical cylinder, or if it's oblique. Okay, the height, typically that'll be the height. In this case, you've got to measure the height this way. It needs to be perpendicular to the base. All right, but they will have the same volume because the bases are the same size and the heights are the same. All right, let's try a couple. So my formula is pi times radius squared times height. So all I need for these problems is radius and a height. Looks like my radius is 4 and the height between the bases is 5. So we just plug it in. Volume is pi times 4 squared times 5. Okay, this time we're going to get an exact answer. We're also going to get an answer with 2 decimal spots. Okay, so the exact answer, go ahead and get the calculator out. So 4 squared, okay, and then I'm going to multiply that by 5, so 80. So 80, I do need to remember the pi, 80 pi, okay, cubic centimeters. All right, and then multiplying 2 decimal spots, I'm going to multiply that by pi. Okay, there's the pi button. Enter. Looks like 251.33. Okay, so if we're just doing the math problem, exact answers are great. If we're actually trying to find the volume of something, we want to use decimal spots. All right, number 2. Okay, again, volume equals pi times radius squared. In this case, the radius is half the diameter, it's 3, and the height's 4. So it's going to be pi times radius squared times height. Okay, so that's going to be 9 times 4 is 36. 36 pi centimeters cubed. All right, number 3 gets a little more to it, okay, because sort of looks like a cake with different sized parts to it. So I have 2 different sized cylinders. We'll call this cylinder 1. We'll call this cylinder 2. What I have though is I have a piece removed from the middle. That's what this means. That's gone. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. So my thing I'll do here, I'm going to find the volume of the first cylinder. I'm going to add that to the volume of the second. And then I'm going to remove the volume of the third. Okay, so what's the volume of the first piece? Okay, it's pi times its radius. Okay, if I look down at the bottom, it tells me that this length is the same as this length, so that's 10. So that's the diameter. So the radius there, okay, is 5. Okay, and the height is 5. Okay, so 5 squared times 5 is 125. So 125 pi is volume of the first section. Okay, all right, so what's the volume of the second section? Pi times its radius. Okay, so the radius of that larger section is half of 14, 7, and then the height there is 11. Okay, so if I do that, 7 squared times 11 is 539 pi. Okay, and then the volume for the third part, okay, volume for the third part is pi times the radius. Okay, the radius, diameter is 2, so radius is 1. Okay, and then the height, okay, the height is this entire height, so it's going to be 5 and 11, so that's 16. Okay, when I multiply that out, it's going to be 16 pi. Okay, exponents first, but 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times 16 is 16. All right, so to get my total here, so the total volume is going to be V1, so that'd be 125 pi plus 539 pi, okay, minus the tube in the middle. All right, those are all like terms, so I can add up 125 and 539 and then I got to remove 16. Okay, so 648 pi is the answer. Okay, to the nearest hundredth. Okay, that's going to be, all right, hold on, so 648 times pi will be that. Okay, we'll leave it as exact answer though. All right, let's see, we're in cubic centimeters. All right, okay, so number 4, this one is basic cylinder. Radius is 4, height's 10. It's on its side, I could tip it up. Okay, so the area is pi times radius squared times height. Okay, so that's going to be 16 pi times 10, which is 160 pi. All right, next one. Okay, cylinder, so pi times radius squared times height. The radius, okay, is half of 5, so 2.5. Okay, the height, to get the height, okay, I have my hypotenuse is 13. Okay, I know that one of the legs is 5. I'm looking for the other leg. Okay, so use Pythagorean theorem. It's going to be a leg squared plus other leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. Okay, so h squared, to get that, we'll use the calculator. Okay, so 13 squared minus 5 squared is 144, and then to get h, so h squared was 144, and then h is the square root of that, 12. All right. Okay. All right, so to get the volume, I do pi times radius squared times the height. All right, so that's going to be, we'll do exact answers. So 2.5 squared times 12 is 75. So my volume here is 75 pi. All right. Okay, for this one, I could do it 2 ways. One way to do this problem, okay, would be to break it up into prisms. I have a triangular prism here. Okay, and I have a, this would be a fourth of a cylinder. All right, so if I want to do it that way, okay, I can. So the formula for a prism is area of the base. Okay, my base is this triangle piece, so it's half times the base of that. Okay, times the height. Okay, and the height. Okay, so I got to find those things. Okay, well, okay, if I have a circle here, okay, and this is the radius. Radius is also here, so height looks like it's 8. Okay, I just need the base now. All right, this is a right triangle. Okay, if I use Pythagorean theorem, so I have okay, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. All right, so when you do that, we're gonna get 15 for the answer. All right, so when I multiply that out, okay, that's gonna get me the triangle, the area of the base. Okay, so that's the area of the base, and then all right, so let's see. So half times 15 times 8 is 60. So this is 60. All right. Okay, that's the area of the base. The height, so the length between the bases is the same as this length. It's 11. Okay, so if I multiply that by 11, okay, this piece is 660. All right, the other piece, okay, is a fourth of a cylinder. So pi times radius squared times height. All right, so I'm going to do 1 divided by 4. Okay, I'm going to multiply that by 8 squared. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply that by 11. So this would be a plus 176 pi. All right, so my final answer is 660 plus 176 pi. All right, the typical way I do that is actually a different way. what I would do is, if you look at the picture, the height between the bases is the same. So I'm going to treat this like a prism. Okay, I'm going to get the area of the base, and I'm going to multiply it by the height. Okay, so the area of the base, okay, I figured that out. The triangle part was 60. The other part, it was a fourth. Sorry, not half. Fourth times pi times radius squared. Okay, so that's 16 pi. All right, so my volume is the height times the area of the base. Okay, and then I just use distributive property. Okay, 11 times 60. 11 times 60 is 660. And then I do 11 times 16, 176 pi. Okay, got the same answer both times. Got two different ways to get it. All right, let's see, did I do number 6? Yes. Okay, so number 7. All right, this one. Okay, let's break this up into regions. Okay, I'm going to do it the same way I did the last one at the end. Area of the base times the height. Okay, the height between the bases is the same every time. It's 11. Okay, because that's the distance between the bases. Okay, the base is going to be this sort of weird looking region. I have this semicircle. Okay, and then I got to figure out what this is. Okay, so that's one of those where I don't have a formula for that. So to get that, we're going to, so let's figure out first the area of that bottom piece. So the area of that bottom piece is going to be the whole rectangle. So 2 times, that's 6, so 12. And then I got to subtract, it's a semicircle, so half of pi times radius squared. So that's going to be 12 minus half of 4 is 2. 12 minus 2 pi is that purple region. Okay, so I got to add that to, so just to label it, we'll call that region 1, we'll call that region 2. So the area of region 1 was that. Okay, the area of region 2 is, it's half of pi times the radius squared. Okay, diameter is 6. That means the radius is 3. Okay, and then when I figure that out, half of 9 is 4.5. All right, so get the area of the whole base. We're going to add up those things. So I'm going to add up 4 pi, 4.5 pi, and I'm going to add 12 minus 2 pi. All right, so 2.5 pi minus, or 4.5 pi minus 2 pi is 2.5 pi. The plus 12 stays, so that's the area of my base. All right, okay, volume of prism is the area of the base times the height. So 11 times 2.5 pi plus 12. Okay, that will give me the entire area. Okay, we'll use distributive property. Okay, so 11 times 2.5 is 27.5 pi. Okay, and then 11 times 12 is 132. Okay, so if anything was too fast, you can go back, rewatch it, hit pause, come ask questions if you need to. Let's see, do I have units? There it is. Okay, that's the volume. All right, please don't combine those. They're not like terms. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Those are the orders operations. And we multiply, okay, here, and then add. You got to multiply first. If you combine them, you mess that up.